former president of Nigeria, Goodluck Jonathan Iberi, was asked about election in Edo State. Now listen to his comment, what he said about the election and what Jonathan said about technology in conducting election in Nigeria. Listen to what he said.
Former President Goodluck Jonathan yesterday said the outcome of last weekend's governorship election in Edo State had shown that technology would not solve Nigeria's electoral challenges. Former President Goodluck Jonathan said the human mindset was key to the resolution of the electoral problems. But he regretted that many Nigerians had a dirty attitude towards politics. The former president canvassed attitudinal change among citizens. Also, the former national chairman of the People's Democratic Party, Uche Secondus, warned that 2027 might never come to political reality because the ruling All Progressives Congress has murdered and buried the country's democracy, according to him. Former President Jonathan made the remarks in Abuja at a program organized by the Institute for Peace and Conflict Resolution and partners in commemoration of the International Day of Peace.
So many countries are in conflict. And out of the 10 top countries that are in conflict globally, 3 of them are in sub-Saharan Africa. And quite a number of countries around us, including us, are in one form of conflict or the other. And when you look at what causes conflict in Africa, most cases is struggle for leadership, contestation for power. And that is the main cause of conflict. Sometimes when you go to a society and people can tell you all kinds of stories, but by the time you do proper analysis and think deeply, you know that most causes of conflict is leadership struggle. And that is why I'm also worried about my country in Nigeria.
The present situation in this country and the hunger is in this country is when over a long time, both the government and the people ignore the fundamental thing. You must have the effect in the long run. I want Nigerians to know this. We abandoned agriculture, chasing for the non-existing, non-available white-collar job. As we speak now, last December and this December, the rice I distributed, I did myself. I can take you on a trip to my rice farm. Even as a city honorable member, I go to farm. Now, technology has made it that you don't need to go to farm now to do your farm work. You can get bags. I'm coming. The basic thing is food. Whether fuel or no fuel, when there is food you eat, it's better.
All right, well, we do continue with the post-mortem of the Edo election now, hearing from former President Goodluck Jonathan, who continues to be vocal on issues of governance here in Nigeria.
And which is a good one, but a couple of things. Technology can actually work, but it's just that we have participants that don't want it to work. It's on the political class that aid in the manipulation of the laws that will not make technology work. Leading up to 2023 elections, we did not know that we didn't have a strong legal backing for IREV. Till today, it's not been fixed. Where IREV can actually be empowered to be that coalition point. And that's why you see that there's discrepancy between IREV, what's collated on IREV, and what INEC announces, and nothing happens. Because they will now point you back to the law. So all the things we pointed out in the last elections of 2023, what have we learned from them? Till today, nobody has put it forward. They've not had any big push for electoral reforms. 2025 is just around the corner. Before you know it, politically will start again. And most of these things will not be fixed. And it will go in 2027 election after we start complaining. And it's because the people see that nothing is being done. That's why there's high level of voter apathy. So that's why you see that from about 30%, it's dropped to about 20-something percent. It might even drop to 15, 10% in this country, the way we are going. That's why I keep saying something has to give at some point. He also talked about the attitudinal change of politicians. Yes, but we must put guardrails in place. See, people hardly change. That's why you have laws. If you don't have laws in place, people will act recklessly. So the guardrails in place against this politician is not expecting them to be saints, but we must not put those guardrails in place and monitor them to the latter to ensure they now start to conform to the norms. And once we do that, I mean, there's some recommendations for INEC in the Ways report, which was also how the INEC chief is being picked. Let's look at all of that.
Right.
Okay, what is the story? The story is President Jonathan, Goodluck Jonathan, saying that, look, what Edo State has proven is that technology alone cannot, elevate Nigeria's democratic process. In other climes where you have a different system, yes, technology helps. In fact, you won't even know that an election is taking place. The American election has started ahead of November because people are voting offshore. But here in Nigeria, we said, oh, technology is very important and all of that ahead of the emergence of the Electoral Act 2022. technology, BVAS, was the main thing. Let me jump the narrative and go to Edo State. In Edo State, this time around, off-cycle election, we have been told that, oh, BVAS worked very well, biometric verification did not take more than 1 minute. The outcome of it is that at the end of the day, there are issues with collation, with the outcomes, with the future of democracy in Edo State. So to that extent, I think that President Jonathan is very correct. To use Professor Akinterewa's expression, President Jonathan cannot be more correct. So in those states, if technology was okay and all of that, then there were other issues. And President Jonathan's main point is that, look, the people have to change their attitude. What we are discussing now is probably still, we have been told that the people of Edo State have made up their minds and they have decided. And they have decided that APC won in that election. But the election observers, including Yaga Africa, that the APC has been criticizing, said, look, that election failed the test of integrity. Yaga Africa deployed 300 deployed their persons to 300 polling units. They had 25 roving observers. And Yaga Africa said, look, this election had integrity issues. Materials were not deployed early enough. There was ballot snatching. There was people stuffing ballot boxes and burning ballot boxes. The APC can, hug their victory, but they have to be reminded that election observers and monitors have a major role to play in this election. These are the issues that President Jonathan, now, established as a statesman, is pointing to. And you will recall, for the benefit of the illiterates in this environment, some of those people that I see on Twitter, that look, President Jonathan made electoral reform a principal pillar of his intervention in the electoral process. He said, look, electoral reform is important. His principal, President Yaradua, they won in 2007, but they concluded that, look, there's something wrong with the electoral process in this country. They initiated the process of electoral reform. When President Jonathan lost the election in 2015, there were people who were saying, well, he wanted to come and reform the electoral process. That's why he lost. So at the end of the day, President Jonathan said, well, I don't want anybody's blood to be shed, because I want to be president. So he has the right bona fide to make this observation. And I hope that Nigerians who have a sense of history, they will have a sense of memory. This is about memory. To remember that the man who has told them that technology is not enough, knows what he's talking about. Because in this country, well, we're still back to square one. We're still saying we need to reform. We need to reform. But if we do electoral reform, we produce documents, we change the constitution, the people themselves have to change. The politicians themselves have to change. The institutions also have to act differently. This, I think, is the important point. I'm blaming election observers. APC should stop doing that. It is unintelligent.
Right.
Are you saying that? Yes, that is it. I said it before in my video. That was the reason why I said no more election in Nigeria. Let's do it turn by turn. And that time everybody will be happy. This stress you are saying, like I've explained on that video, you will not say it. As I speak to you now, as far as I am concerned, as far as Nigeria election is concerned, technology will not help us. It might help us later if the politicians are changed from this their way of conducting election, fighting for power. If they change their ways, when you go to church, they will say, let's pray to God. God should arrest things. God should change him. God should make him to repent. That is the only way. As I speak to you, as far as they have this evil mind, the technology will not help us. The only way the technology will help us, immediately at that election center, when immediately you do the accreditation, you transmit the election immediately. Everybody will see, just like they do in the US. We are not advanced in technology to that where we can conduct that kind of election. Even the Nigerian that I know, we still don't want those kind of technology to work. We have all the resources to put all those things together. That's my problem with them. They will still not allow it to work. As far as we cannot have it that way, that means technology will not work. We see how much of money we invested in 2023 presidential election in that technology, to acquire those technology to make election work, to transmit election in real time to the IRF, everybody will see. But today, the technology at that time, it was dead on arrival. They did not allow it to see the light of the day. So that is just it. It will not work. It will not help us. We're just going to go back and forth in doing election. If these politicians has changed the only way, what they should have. Now, look at you, listen to that. Everything, all the irregularities that happened, everything they thought about, the problem in that election, up to today, they have not rectified any of those things. They have not make any amendment. They have not make any amendment and not put it into law that election will be transmit the election at real time, and if they fail to do so, the election will be cancelled. They have not said anything like that. The next election is just around the corner, 2027. They have not make that pronouncement to say if it did not transmit the election at real time, the election will be cancelled, and it must be so. Now here is it. You can only use that technology at the accreditation center, the polling unit, everybody to print, you do all those things, you see the technology works. After there, at the collation center, people are still going to collate those results, put them together before the final announcement. So in that offices where the collation centers are going on, then the manipulation started. The manipulation happens in those offices. At that time, it's human being that will bring all those things out from the IREF to change figures. That's what you see, different results on the IREF. So it is not going to work. That's my advice. My advice is no more election in Nigeria. Let all the parties agree together and do it turn by turn. At that time, there will be no waste of resources, waste of materials. You just know, let this party go and conduct your primaries and bring somebody to represent you. Then it is your turn. Automatically, this one finishes its tenure. They hand over to you. They do the swing. That's it. Why we are building our system to work like the American or the UK. At that time, you continue to pray. You that love to pray, that goes to the church, you continue to pray to change the heart, the mind of the leaders to come and obey and do the needful whatever. Whenever they goes out to this country, what they are saying, how the technology works for them to come and do the same thing. But as far as they are not ready to do that, as I speak to you now, it's not going to work. Forget, no matter the technology you bring into this country, it's not going to work, because people have taken this as an investment. As an investment, everybody wants to make money. You know, they are desperate to make money. They are desperate for power. So it's not going to work. That's what you see Jonathan just said. Technology will not help us in conducting election in Nigeria. We are just going to waste time, waste money. In every election, we continue to say the same thing. So simple as that. And a lot of people now, they lost hope already. Next election, they will not come. The only people that will come to vote are those people who will benefit from the government immediately. That's why you see this selling of vote appetites, selling of vote. Because there's hunger. Politicians will always try to frustrate the people so that they have reasons to collect money to vote. They quickly want to solve their immediate problem. But if I am not interested in the 10,000 naira you want to give me, that could not do anything for me. If I'm not interested in taking that 10,000 naira, I'm not going to vote, because my vote is not going to count. I'm not going to waste my precious time. And the same mind, what I'm telling you now, a lot of people made their mind up that they are not going to polling unit to vote. A lot of people destroy their card, their voter's card. They are not going to vote. The only people you see that will vote are those people, those hungry touts who are willing to sell their vote for any amount. Or the likes of Nsilu Omo, Tony Kabaka and his boys, who can quickly benefit from the election at that moment. Anything, what happens at that time, they know they are benefited, they're taking their money, they struggle continue. After all, this is a struggle. That's the only thing. If not, we will remain here. So take it or leave it. This is a way forward. Please share this video. Please do me a favor. I'll be your guy. Run on for me. Subscribe and hit the notification button. And you can only get this update from me.